Being broke sucks. Let's just be honest for a second. When you have no money, you have no choice. People get to make you do what they want you to do without asking for your opinion. Aside from all the nice things that money buys you, the private jet trips, the unforgettable vacations, money allows you to be free, to live life on your own terms, to wake up in the morning knowing that you control your own destiny. All my life, this is what I dreamed of. More than anything, I wanted to be free, and I knew that to be able to achieve this, I needed to make a lot of money. Now, I grew up in a small town with no real opportunities and lots of crime, and I'll be completely honest with you, for the longest time, I resented my own father for forcing me to live this less than desirable reality. But at some point, I just got sick of it. I was tired of being broke and of never getting to enjoy life, of never truly being able to make my own choices. So I decided to take responsibility for everything in my life. It didn't matter. If I didn't cause it, I was responsible for it either way. And so I told myself, I don't care how long it's gonna take. Obviously, the sooner the better, but I will become rich while I'm young. And most people, if they heard me say that when I was a teen, a kid, they would think, yeah, right. They would probably think, oh, he's just a delusional kid. But it's one thing to say that you want something, to say that you want to be rich. But when I say I want something, I'm not just gonna sit there and wait for it to happen. I go and I work relentlessly until I achieve my target. Now, having money will improve every aspect of your life. In fact, most of your problems could be fixed if you simply had more money. But I have good news. In 2024, with the internet, there is no excuse to be broke anymore. And it's also thanks to the internet that I personally went from sleeping in a basement to staying in some of the best buildings in the world and building a profitable business. The funny thing is that a lot of people, they might get to see my reels on social media and they think, oh, this guy, he's just a lucky rich kid. They might stumble upon my Instagram post in nice buildings with nice cars and think I had it all from the start. Everything was handed to me on a silver platter. And every time I walk into a 5-star hotel, every time I get into a Benz, it's kind of weird because I'm thinking these people, they must be thinking because he's young, he's just a lucky rich kid. But if only they knew, that couldn't be further from the truth. My father's a nurse, my mother a nursing assistant. So as you can see, that's not exactly the upbringing of a spoiled rich kid. Now, if you're watching this right now, I understand that you're sick and tired of being broke. You want to experience the best things that the world has to offer. Maybe you go to university, maybe you have a job and you hate it. You want to take control of your life. You want to decide what you get to do every day, not follow a schedule which has been imposed upon you by others. Maybe you want to be able to retire your mother. Maybe you want to be able to buy your family gifts, to take them out to a fancy restaurant and pay the bill like it's pennies. If you resonate with that, my goal with this video is to share with you the key lessons you need to understand if you're genuinely sick and tired of being broke and you are ready to commit and do whatever the hell it takes for however long it takes to actually start making some decent money online. And even if you go on to start a brick and mortar business, or if you go for a high-paying career, these same lessons will still allow you to become more successful. The first thing I'd like to share with you, and really this is a lesson I had to learn early on in my life, you have to believe in yourself, even when no one else dares believe in you. It's a funny story, but I remember when I started to become interested in the world of health and fitness, of bodybuilding, I started to weigh my food, to count my macros, and to go to the gym. I mean, at the time, I didn't actually have money for a gym membership, so I would just work out in the basement on a mat. I would do bodyweight exercises, follow these 20-minute workouts I'd see online, like these HIIT workouts from these influencers, and I thought at the time I would become just as jacked as they were when I didn't understand, no, they actually go to the gym. These HIIT training sessions, it's cardio, not actually weight training. But anyways, I just remember people making fun of me for trying to actually improve myself as if somehow that was wrong. I remember my parents just being pissed off at me because I would weigh my food and they would tell me, why can't you be normal? Why can't you just do things like everyone else? Well, that's the thing. You can't just do things like everyone else and end up with an extraordinary outcome. If you do things like everyone else, you will end up like everyone else. And just take a look at the people around you. Are they happy? Are they in great shape? Are their finances in order? No. Most people hate life. They're the victims of it. Every day they wake up without intent. They want their life to get better desperately. But year after year, it's just the same story that keeps repeating itself over and over again. But guess what? Instead of taking responsibility for that life, instead of doing whatever the hell it takes to improve themselves and to change their lives, most people will just complain endlessly. They'll complain about the system, which honestly is not fair at all, but you're not gonna change the system. All you can do is improve yourself and get to work, focus on yourself. If you want to be able to save others, first you need to save yourself and your family. You need to have your priorities in the correct order. And I'll be honest with you, at first, no matter what it is that you start, people, events, and situation will test your resolve. You might start your business, you reach out to potential customers, barely anyone replies, or some people even laugh at you, try to humiliate you. What would most people do in that scenario? They would quit, think that life is unfair, think it's too hard, they're not cut out for it. But whenever you see someone, they're successful, they're making millions of dollars, living the life, flying private, you have no idea what it took to get get to that level. And I'm not talking about the trust fund kids. I'm talking about the people who, like me, came from humble beginnings and actually had to earn everything that they've got. The people who spent years of their lives unnoticed, suffering, and they only put in the work because they knew they didn't want to stay like this. So for a while, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's gonna feel so lonely. It's early mornings, late nights. You're putting in the work, but you're barely getting any results. And people laugh at you. People say, oh, you should just quit. You're never gonna make it. What do you think you're doing? And you know why these people say these things? Because they don't want to see you doing better than them. But if you let naysayers, haters, allow doubts to creep in your mind, you will give up. You will fail. You need to have such resolve. You're not gonna give up no matter what. Because what's the other option? A mediocre life. You're $300,000 in debt. You don't own your car. You don't own your house. You still have to repay the bank for the degree which cost you at least $100,000. So you work not even for yourself, but to repay all of your creditors. And that's the path they sell you is freedom. You know, if you study hard in school, you do as they say, one day you'll be successful. But what is success? Having so much debt? Having a mortgage? An okay car? An okay life? Is that what you want? Having 2 weeks of vacations per year, and you do that for 70 years straight without ever questioning if things couldn't be done differently, and then one day you die. You know what's funny? More than half of millennials think they will become a millionaire in their lifetime. But that's not even the craziest part. Over 72% of Gen Z, they believe they will become millionaires in their lifetime. And I think that the reason why we can see this phenomenon happen is because people are just pissed off. Nowadays, people understand this whole get massively in debt, go to university, work hard all of your life to pay 70+% taxes. I think people are fed up now. People want better opportunities. People want true freedom. Now, just like people, events and circumstances will test your resolve, it's life's way of asking you, do you actually want it? Are you willing to put in the work to make the necessary sacrifices? Because if everyone could be at the top, if everyone could be extremely successful, well, it would just be the new norm. You wouldn't be successful, you would just be. There would be something else to aspire to, another level. So just like a good partner will test you to see if you're strong, if you can stand by your values, if they can trust you in times of need, people, events, and circumstances will test your resolve constantly. It's life's way of asking you, do you actually want that thing? Are you willing to put in the work? Or are you just gonna talk about it? Now, something else I'd like to share with you, I actually learned from just, living life, but also from tarot. You see, the funny thing is that sometimes I've done some tarot readings for fun, and it's like, the accuracy of these things was absolutely mind-blowing. Now, you can say it's the Barnum effect. It's basically general things that will apply to everyone. But sometimes, honestly, you would be surprised to see how targeted it can be. It's kind of like sometimes when you listen to the lyrics of a song, it speaks to you. It's as if that song was made for you because it's describing exactly what's going on in your life right now. You need to understand that usually, before things get better, they will go to shit. In tarot, there's this card which is called the Tower. Now, a lot of people, when they get that card in their jaw, they start to freak out. And the reason why people freak out when they get the Tower card in their tarot reading, it's because it's announcing negative things to come in your life. However, the subtlety with the Tower card is that it's not just announcing disaster, chaos. It is renewal. It is letting the bad fall apart, collapse, to welcome the good in your life. So if anything, it's a very positive card. It means change is coming, and you might have to go through a difficult phase, but what's on the other side of that pain, of that suffering, it's better than anything you could possibly want. A lot of people, they want the good things. They want the best things that life has to offer, but they're not willing to suffer for them. The greater the struggle, the sweeter the taste of victory. If you could just get anything you wanted just by wishing for it or clapping your hands, would it be worth it? You wouldn't appreciate these things. The nice cars, the nice vacations, the nice houses. It's all worth it because you suffer for it. I can tell you that trust fund kids who had everything right from the start, they will never appreciate luxury, abundance as much as somebody who actually had to earn it. And the person that you will become as you work hard to earn a better life, that is worth all the money in the world. Because when it's time for you to leave this world, you won't take the supercars, the nice houses, the vacations with you to the grave, but you will take yourself, who you became in that process. The goal is to strive to become a better version of yourself every single day, to at the end of your life, be proud of what you've accomplished, be proud of the kind of person that you are. If you have a scar, at first when it's healing, it doesn't look that pretty. If you're prone to acne and you decide to stop consuming dairy and sugar to have clear skin, at first you might notice your skin is breaking out more and more. If anything, more than when you were consuming dairy and sugar. I call this phase the purge. It doesn't last. There's a quote I love which really sums it up. You have to fight through the worst days of your life to earn the best days of your life. At the end of the day, you need to understand you cannot escape pain. Thinking that you can is foolish because pain is literally at the center of life. Imagine wanting to get fit but refusing to feel any pain. You get on the treadmill, you're out of breath, you stop after 2 minutes because you feel pain. You pick up some weights, you do a workout, but then the next day you're you're sore, so you stop going to the gym. So if right now you're going through a difficult phase in your life, know it's temporary. If you keep putting in the work, no matter what other people say, no matter how you feel, you will be rewarded. People who work hard don't go by unnoticed. If you do the right thing and you do it long enough, you will become extremely successful at whatever it is that you do. But most people quit before they get their breakthrough moment. A lot of the time, growth is not linear, it's exponential. For a while, you might do a lot, exhaust yourself, and barely see any progress. And that is where most people quit. That's the value of despair. You're working so hard, doing everything you can, but you're barely seeing any progress, if any. Every self-made successful person that you see, they were exactly where you are right now, in that valley of despair. It's hard, it's difficult, you have so many doubts, so many fears. You're going to sleep at 4 a.m. wondering if your hard work is ever gonna pay off. If instead you shouldn't just give up and settle for a mediocre career, an average life. But if you truly know you are destined for more, for greatness, you can't give up. So remember, before things become great, they will most likely just suck. Now, something I really wish that more teens and more young adults could realize is that while your parents want to see you do well most of the time, you can't actually take their advice. If you want to be successful, your parents are gonna tell you, go to university, get in debt if you have to, study for a high-paying career, slowly climb the corporate ladder, and one day you'll be making 6 figures a year. And the reason why your parents tell you to do this is because that's all they know. That's the path they had to follow. A couple decades ago, we must not forget, the internet, social media, they did not exist. Being an influencer wasn't even a thing. If you wanted to start a business, you had to have a lot of money to start a brick-and-mortar business, a physical business. Nowadays, it's no longer the case. New opportunities arose thanks to the internet and social media. So if you follow the old way of doing things, with inflation year after year, constantly making life more difficult for everyday people, you'll also have no retirement, terrible healthcare services, and crime rates increasing in major cities. Now, like I said, most of the time, your parents don't have bad intentions. In fact, they want to see you do well. But the issue is, they will try to have you sacrifice greatness and an unforgettable life of freedom, of abundance, for security instead, or at least for the illusion of it. The truth is, if you want to get rich, if you want to live the top 1% life, you need to think and to act differently than most people. So if your parents are not extremely wealthy themselves, you cannot take their advice, at least not their financial advice. And when you start to act differently than most people, and even thinking differently, it's gonna be lonely. For the longest time, I just felt so lonely, because no one around me was actually ambitious, wanted to do something great with their lives. They were complaining, but they were still fine with having to settle for average. I wasn't. So while your parents probably don't understand that a job is not gonna make you rich in 99% of cases, you have to be very careful when you decide which business to start, because not every opportunity is equal. Some business models are great for beginners. They don't require that much money to get started, and they're pretty easy to succeed with in comparison to other businesses. Now, to help you, I've recorded a free video in which I analyze every popular online business model. Together, we take a look at the pros, at the cons. That way, you can figure out which one is the best to start in your situation. If you're interested, I'll leave the link in the description below. And finally, the last thing I'd like to share with you is that you're gonna need to do way more than you think. You've got to realize every day, every month, more and more people are realizing we have crazy opportunities to get extremely wealthy, extremely young, that we have never seen in the entire history of the world. So more and more people are trying to take advantage of these opportunities. More and more people are starting agencies, reaching out to potential customers. More and more people are opening up YouTube channels, trying to become influencers. So the longer you wait to get started, the more difficult it's gonna be for you to succeed. If you truly want something, you truly want to become rich, what are you waiting for? Your circumstances will never be perfect. And I know what I'm speaking about. I procrastinated starting my own business, the business that changed my life, for more than 7 months, because I wasn't bold enough to do what it took to succeed. If you genuinely want success, you're obsessed with it, you can't go to sleep without thinking about it, without dreaming about it. You need to understand you're gonna need to make a lot of sacrifices to get to the top. So it's not gonna be easy. I'm never gonna tell you. All you have to do is to click on a few buttons, and instantly you'll start making thousands of dollars every single month. So while it's not easy, what I'm gonna keep telling you, however, again and again and again, is that it's worth everything and more. I don't know about you, but personally, I've always had a do-or-die attitude when it comes to success. I knew what I wanted, and I wasn't gonna stop at anything to get it. Life is too short to waste your youth, to waste decades of your life and realize you could have done so much. You could have worked hard, you could have achieved big things, but you didn't, because you weren't willing to commit to doing the work, or because you let your fears hold you back. I was known to be the guy who didn't watch movies, who didn't party, didn't drink, didn't care about silly friendships or dating, because he was too busy building, working hard to become the best man I could possibly be. So stop waiting, get started today. No one is gonna hand you the life of your dreams on a silver platter. You're not gonna wake up one day and have $1 million waiting for you in the bank. It's never gonna happen. It's either you're gonna commit, take responsibility for your life, do what it takes to succeed, or you won't. Are you gonna do the work? It's a yes or no answer. There's no gray area. There's no in between. Now, like I said, if you've got no clue where to start, you can click the link in the description below and figure out which online business you want to start. Now, with that said, what are you waiting for? It's time to get to work.